So hi. Hello. It's been a while. So yeah, I'm mostly doing this for one person, and the one person is fucking around on Twitch. Just, it's not good enough. But anyway, so me, Haley / Haley Revolutions, because reasons. I am she, her. I am a girl. I am a trans girl, as you probably can tell, to be honest. But I've tried. I've dressed up, which I didn't really do before, because I streamed for a couple of months last year when I was unemployed, and then I realised I was not getting employed by streaming. I mean, I was looking for jobs as well, but it was taking a lot of energy. But now I have a job, and I have had for 6 months, and it's fine. And I'm like, I should do some streams again, because it was fun. So that's what I'm doing. Doing streams. And the first stream, I think, would be a good one to start with, is, you can see from the title, Sunless Skies. Hey, she's here. And my girlfriend is in the chat, so yay. So, yeah, Sunless Skies. I love the entire Full and London universe. I played the hell out of Sunless Sea. I've played a chunk of Sunless Skies, like, honestly not as much as I want to, which is kind of another reason why I've done this, especially because they've, in the last couple of months, I think, because it came out in January, and in the last couple of months they've camera adjustments, done some major changes to Albion, which is one of the game's regions. Oh no, you can't be embarrassing me. I have the chat on like a little screen down here. Don't you? No. Bad. Yeah, so played the crap out of Sunless Sea, played a chunk of Sunless Skies, and they've changed one of the regions recently, so it should be good to go back in. I finished the game once, and I got a good few hours into my continued run through. And then I got distracted by Hyrule Warriors or something. Yay! Other friend! Multiple people. So, Sunless Skies. Yes. Disclaimers. Content warnings. It's a spooky game. It's not like gory or graphic, and they don't really do much in the way of like shock, but there are some spooky things, mostly in writing form with occasional creepy art. Other person. This is Tom. Tom is one of my Netrunner friends, and this is Rose, my girlfriend, who is not Cat. I have two girlfriends. Isn't it fun? Cat will probably show up at some point. Usually more Cuphead, but I need to get good at Cuphead again. Good. Leading to the point the second. I make no claims to being good at this game. I played through it originally on like the easiest difficulty settings, because I play these games for the story and the atmosphere, and not really to challenge myself super much. Like, that's what Cuphead is for, or Dark Souls. Like, this is for me to enjoy the world. But I don't want to get called a scrub, so I'm going to play this on like the middle level, like not the normal level, not the easy level, middle level, especially as well because they've, since I last played, upped the terror mechanics difficulty as well, which means it's easier for your crew to get spooked and die and run away. So yeah, so if I'm bad, I may change the difficulty to be lower, because I don't want to just repeat and die over and over again, because that's boring, and then I keep doing the intro stuff again. Right, enough of me waffling. This is gonna be fun. So yeah, let me know if the sound is fucky and like the game is way louder than I am or whatever. Sunless Skies. I'm going to start a completely new game from scratch. Probably tomorrow I'm going to come back and do Cultist Simulator as well, because Cultist Simulator is great fun. And lots of people I know have been like, I can't understand this game at all. And I've been like, I should stream and explain how it works, and then haven't done that. So maybe I should do that now. What would also be good is Twitch. Not Twitch, is my computer loading the game up. Okay. Sunless skies. Choo choo choo, motherfuckers. Also, I swear. Deal with it. Right then. So, new game. Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Let's. I'm just picking random numbers. Let's see how that works. Oh, it's been a while. Large fonts. Should I read large fonts? Cool. Better? Hopefully better. If like the game starts and the gunfire is bonkers, then yeah, we can fix it. Let's go. So yeah, new game. Legacy. So this is, yeah, I don't know. I think Rose, you played it. Tom, I don't know if you played it. Random hypothetical other people. Presumably? Well, why would you watch this? But yeah, merciful campaign, pretty much as it says on the tin. You can save whenever you want, basically, and if you die, it lets you like reload the last save point. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I haven't done it because legacy campaign, which is the fun mode. So yeah, this is the aforementioned difficulty modes. Great difficulty modes. There are 3 different settings for like how hard things are going to be, which is ideal. So yeah, I had it on like moderate, which makes it much easier to hit people, and stately, which makes it easier to dodge people. So I'm going to do it in the middle, and yeah, 50 makes it easy to not starve to death because I'm bad at video games. Portentous loading screen. Sleepy. Why am I doing this today? I'm knackered. I'm always knackered. That's how being ill all the time works. I don't know. Fatigued or stressed or depressed. Who knows? Not working properly. Some people I'm here aren't knackered all the time, and those people are aliens. Oh, I'm going to read some text, unless it gets annoying. Log of Her Majesty's Locomotive the Orphean, March 14th, 1905. Our expedition to the domains of the dead has been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and in grievous need of repairs and supplies. We are returning in haste to the Reach, where I hope to make port at New Winchester. May God be with us, for 1,000 deaths wait in the sky. Final entry of Captain Amelia Charity Whitlock, written shortly before her death. Dun dun dun. I'm not reading this bit, you can read it. Tutorials! So, I'm not going to do a full like talking simulator. I'm going to talk about what I think of the design of this because I do not know enough about game design, but just the aesthetic is so good, and like mysterious silhouette because I haven't done things. No, you are not to embarrass me, I said. Return to the Reach, an untamed sunless span of the heavens, London's new frontier, a celestial garden. Your journey back from the Blue Kingdom was tumultuous. Your locomotive is damaged and Captain Whitlock badly wounded. Embarrassing girlfriend. Not stupid, lovely, embarrassing girlfriend. As first officer, the crew look to you. The nearest station is New Winchester. Can you get the Orphean there safely? This is already a much more dynamic entry into it than Choo Choo Sunless Seas, which was the previous game, because Sunless Seas you just started in London, you had a bunch of text and you said go. And this is like fuel, a wreck. Let's So there's probably some significance to it being the Ozymandias. Like I vaguely know the meaning of the name, but like why it's the first ship you find, I don't know. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocked with recent gunfire. you and boarding party don your skysuits, garments of waxed canvas, lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. 2 of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business did Captain Whitlock have in the Blue Kingdom anyway? Why the devil did we trespass on the districts of the dead? World building. You silence it. Now's not the time. This is me, like, practicing my dungeon mastering or games mastering doing different voices. Let's leap across to the wreck. The endless fathoms of heaven. My name is Ozymandias, wreck of wrecks. Look upon my hull, ye mighty, and get looting. You're a dog. Leading the way, you jump, your stomach lurches with vertigo as the stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unpredictable winds. Then your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandias, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold. One of your companions throws you a line, and you lash the 2 engines together. Only then do the rest of the boarding party follow you. One of them forces open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. Our interior is cold, unlit, and whistles with wind. Your party's lamps spread buttery light over the narrow, panelled passages. You make your way towards the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Crumpled in the corridor. They could be crumbled. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inward by a well-aimed barrage. So, being cleared away, or lead our party on a more precarious path, and this is our first test. So we've got a 75% chance of success against this. I assume difficulty 3, I think that's what the dice is meant to be. Not quite clear. So you can just set to work, or be cunning and find a way around. Shall we be strong, brawny, and just fight the way through it? I think we should. Oh no, I failed. Story of my life. A memory. As you strain against the stubborn steel, you remember an event from a year ago. A boiler explosion had trapped an engineer beneath a tangle of plating and pipework. The captain was first on the scene. You were second. Together, you pried the wreckage upward, enough for you to crawl beneath it, while the captain braced the bar across her back. By all means, take your time, she grunted as you dragged the engineer out. Back in the present, the twisted bulkhead yields suddenly. A crewman cries out as its jagged edge bites him. You order him taken back to the Orpheum while the rest of you press on. The way is clear. So we've lost a crewman. Down to 7. That's not good. You've reached the Ozymandias' hold, a ruin of smashed cargo and spilled supplies. Hopefully, somewhere amidst the detritus, you can find parts to repair the Orpheum and restock your stores. Let's do a thorough search. We've compromised the integrity. Oh no. What's nasty? Someone says, ooh, nasty. What is nasty? Someone being pierced. That bit. I mean, that's no good. Renewed. You find enough food and gear to restock your supplies, and enough spare parts to make necessary repairs to the Orpheum. The food will need to be thoroughly thawed, of course, but you've eaten worse in the skies. Okay. Rose just said phrasing, and I was like, what was the phrasing? And now I think I got it. It's hard to remember what I said more than 2 seconds ago. What's going on? Sunless skies, streaming. Oh yeah. Oh ho! Cries one of the party, prying the lid off a long crate. It holds a cannon still nestled in straw. Another crewman pulls a battered bird cage from a pile of ruined cargo. Within the cage, something winged and furry opens a sullen eye. You examine your finds. Notably, you don't get anything winged and furry. At least, maybe not. I've got some supplies. Maybe I just ate it. Ah, no, it's a bat. The Ozymandias lit amidst a long jutting creek. Your boarding party exchanged nervous glances. Why not? From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies and discovered some useful equipment. A gun that can be mounted on your locomotive and an educated bat. See, so normally in these sorts of things in the game, you get like choices on whether to risk for reward, but this is the tutorial and it wants to give you guns and bats. So I've got damaged weapons. Let's get the Jerusalem cannon. By a single shell, so a good range, more or less accurately. And let's get a batto. The heavens are wide, so locomotives use scouts like bats to locate things of interest. Treats its rescue as an inconvenience and immediately begins haggling over pay, which, if you didn't know from playing other games, means that animals can just talk in this, or at least bats can. You offer to put it away and put it back in its damn cage and leave it on the Ozymandias, at which point it becomes more polite. You doubt it will last. And now we have that choice. Do you want to try and find more fuel or return? Let's risk it. We can send a smaller party ahead. Go yourself or return. So this is going to lose us crew. That's going to be the safe option. This could probably hurt us, so let's do that, shall we? Success! The wreck's engines are choked with old ash. You surge swiftly, aware of every creak in the bulkhead, every tremble that runs through the dead locomotive. Finding several sacks of coal, you drag them to an exterior hatch and fling them across to the Orphean before leaping after them. Unshackling your locomotive from the Ozymandias, you stoke your engines and steam away, restocked, refueled, repaired, and rearmed. Is it a shiny bat? It's not time to reset. I have no idea what's happening, but yes, it can be. We can throw glitter on the bat. Why? Play adventure game piece of Ozymandias. Also, Tom, can you click this in games because I meant to now? So now we can send out our scouts, which does cost us some even supplies. So Sunless sees that was not an issue. Like, you could just spam your thing, your scout, and that meant you pretty much obligated to do that. And now it's much more tactical. Summoned by Captain Whitlock, the walls of the sky of the captain's cabin. I'm just adding word now. Are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of acrid smoke pour from her lungs. Let's talk to the doctor. A word of living fire pursued the Orphean across the Blue Kingdom. Oh no! It's what I have. Oh, Pokemon. Yeah, I don't understand how, like, shiny Pokemon work, and don't even bother explaining. It'll go out of my head immediately. But that makes sense. It caught you just before you passed through the transit relay to the Reach and set its brand upon the captain. It's burned itself right through her, the doctor whispered. When I closed the worst of her wounds, I could see the sign is seared into her bones and her organs. Judging from her symptoms, it's on the inside of her lungs, too. The captain leans to one side and vomits a plume of fire into a copper bowl. There is nothing the doctor can do. Oh no. Load. Video game. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to have a sip of drink. Today's sponsor, Pepsi Max. Oh, I wish. Well, this is a very good advertisement for this game, isn't it? Oh, what the? So it did work, it just didn't load, it didn't scroll down? Her mouth is blistered from the blue fires that dance on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm, her skin is hot as a kettle. Made arrangements. The Orphean will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat breath. Burned meat breath? But promise, she breaks off to scream a word in a language that was not made for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she is weaker, her request little more than a gasp. Promise me one last service. Promise. What are we going to do? I'm going to demand to know why she took us there. She laughs, a sound like wood snapping on the fire. Ash sprays from her mouth. It was worth it, she swears. Her voice is suddenly firm, her eyes hard and bright. Then she sinks back into the scorching pillows in a twisting, frantic fever. And now we should leave. I have an engine to command, after all. New Winterstow is further than you'd like, and the captain. My scout has found something, so I can... Oh, no. Hell is the light. How do I find the chart? Not with that button. With the tab key. I'm sorry. I advertised something you already drink. I have Diet Coke. Wait, no, Coke Zero. Coke Zero. So the chart I will be tabbing into constantly to see if I'm going the right way. It's just sort of how I play most games that have a map. But now a word from our sponsor, Burned Meat Breath. Thank you, Burned Meat. Okay, so now we've got our first recurring character. I can't really do Eldritch Screaming. I'll have to do that part. Oh no, I overheated. Shit, I've been too long since I played. So, if that hits the top, then take some damage. Ooh, a shiny thing. I want the shiny thing. You approach the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. You don't super need repairs, so let's just raid it. Ill-gotten gain, or ill-got gains? Sure. Your boarding party returns with wallets and watches, cufflinks, lockets, and keepsakes. You store them in a safe to be pawned when, if you make it back to port. I have some sovereigns. Still a better ad than anything on the Breachside broadcast. Yeah, it's been a while since I listened to that, but I remember it being great. So basically what I'm saying is, yeah, Coke, pay me. I will just drink Coke Zero. I'll do that anyway. I just realised the video is directly over the health food terror bar. That's a good point. Thank you for that incredibly useful tip. See, placement of video is an important part of the streaming process that I have clearly not learned yet. Good. Okay. Yeah, this is me. So, incidentally, is my mouse, A, can you see my mouse, and B, is it like the in-game mouse, or just like a normal mouse? Must be a house mouse. You coast into the bustle, the din, the soot and the steam of Wolvesey Station. It is clogged with other engines, scrapping... maybe I should not read things. I'm bad at reading, but... no. Need to practice. It is clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner have you pulled into the sidings than a brisk station master bustles over. He requests to come aboard. I must speak with your captain, he insists, brandishing a ledger. The usual formalities. It's a mouse. Look to the doctor. His face is solemn, his hat is in his hands. Oh no. Oh captain, my captain. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orpheum itself feels suddenly more empty. The station master looks confused. You inform him that, unfortunately, Captain Whitlock has just passed. He says neutrally. Sorry to hear that. Very sad, very sad. He waits for what he considers an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. Alas, even amidst tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. If Captain Whitlock is deceased, the station authority require their answers from the first officer. He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pen. It will be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin? So yeah, what sort of mouse is it? Is it like normal shaped mouse or like not normal shaped mouse? Just out of interest, because it's an expert setting, and I'm curious. Create your captain. So now, after game cursor, excellent. Today, London lies between the stars. Her new empire unfolds across the heavens. But 10 years ago, before the Northern Gate was opened, before the renewed Empress led her people into the skies, it lay in a vast cavern far beneath the earth. Deep, dark, marvellous. Who were you then? So, our background, and it sets our skills, but it's feel better, and it's narrative first, which is the important way of doing it. I can't actually remember what I picked before, so do we have a street urchin? I'm not going to read each of these. A soldier, a poet, an academic, a priest, a sailor, a ministry auditor, or a revolutionary? Suggestions from the chat. Now I actually have a chat. It doesn't super affect the game. It mostly has your stats and then gives you a couple more options. Like if you're talking to academics, then and you were an academic, you'd be like, "Hey, look, I wrote a monograph for you." For you? That's not how you write monographs. I read your monograph. Hey, revolutions! You make a good point. The world is broken. One way for the rich, another for the poor. You decided to do something about it. I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, in the setting, in the lore of Fallen London and Sunless, the revolutionaries are not really good guys. They're kind of... No, there's no good guys. That's the whole point. But, like, yeah. You were a revolutionary. The law offered you no protection. The engines of the state were set against that which you knew to be just. How did I fight? With my feet and my fists, with my mind or with my art? Further suggestions? So this changes your stats and also gives you some affiliates. So like with villainy, with academy. I don't actually know how you say that one. Or with bohemia. So leaning towards this one because you've got like different starting points. So art, then I'm going to go for art, and then ambition. So I went for fame last time, so I'm not going to do that again. You will immortalize your exploits in the song of the sky. Blah, blah, blah. That's really good and much more interesting than it was in the first game, because that was pretty much just gather a load of components and like stories and tales and then put them together and you get a book. And this is like you have to go and have specific adventures and then write about them, and it chooses how you write and there's a story there. This one is pretty much get money and get a lodgings, which could be interesting. And this one is, yeah, the plot one, which is the one I started and then abandoned, and I want to do it, but it is best if you do have some like resources from a previous captain. So I'm probably just going to go for wealth. Okay, what am I going to look like? I'm going to click random until I get something fun. The truth to prove the earth is hollow, but that's kind of already the point. Wow, we're not even on the earth anymore, so good luck proving that. It really wants me to have a wimple. Okay, let's go to fame again. I'm not going to go for the truth because, yeah, I think I do need some more resources on that. But fame was fun and has like enough branches in it. Fuck getting more achievements. Right, I'm not going to be a nun. Stop asking for me to be a nun. Fine, I'm going to have to be random. So I'm not random. Actually choose what I look like. Silly cat. I kind of like that hat. Don't know why. You can't handle the truth. No, I cannot. I am... You doubt my truth-handling abilities. That was a 6. Ooh, I like the shiny... Ooh, no, I don't want a monocle. I like the spectacles, though. Yeah, I'm not having a beard. My phone made a weird noise, sorry. This is highly exciting stuff, but it's very important. Go for that one, it looks like my colour. Full marks. I'm not having a beard. Also, good gender options in that there aren't gender options. This will determine what your people call your captain, but your gender is up to you. That's it, and that's perfect. Hey, there's more people watching. Fun. So I'm purposefully not having like my viewer numbers visible to me, because that way I keep looking at them and going like, why is no one watching? Or, oh god, people are watching, so I can just ramble. So I don't want to be a principal or an administrator or a secretary. Administrator is too close to my actual, well, it literally is my actual job. I mean, comrade is kind of on the nose. My lord and lady is a bit. Oh, I like archivist. I'm an arty type, aren't I? I'm a captain. I'm going to be a captain. A+, what for the look? I like the look, right? A name. Need a name. I'm so bad at names. I'm going to click random name until something comes up or someone suggests something. No, I don't. Fine. It'll be Captain something. Watson. Whipple. Whipple's pretty strong. Kenwood. Sorry, just changing the camera. Captain Shaw. I kind of like that. I'm the captain of the shore. So I'm very sneaky. Reasonably hearty. And I'm looking for fame. Whipple has some quality eponymous diseases. Fun. 3 weeks have passed. This morning, Captain Whitlock received a simple memorial service. Her body was consigned to a necropolis train bound for the serene mausoleum. Now you sit with a handful of her relatives in a threadbare offices of her solicitors. A methodical notary is reading the will. The captain was wealthy once, but squandered her capital on mysterious expenses before her expedition to the Blue Kingdom. That would be too easy. I keep looking down at the chat to like address you. I should be looking up there. The camera. Listen to the end. The captain's relatives, from whom she was mostly estranged, are clearly wondering why you are here. Because screw you, that's why. In a final codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that the possession of the Orphean was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry, grey eyes. This includes a certain black box contained in the Orphean's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that, at a time of your choosing, you transport said box to an address in London. He hands you an address card, and deposit it there. You are not to look inside. She gave no explanation. And that's it. You're captain now. The Orphean is yours. So I can look at the black box, take it to London, sell it, I can try and open it. I've got a little bit of money, and I have a boat. But first, let's investigate New Winchester. So, we've got some lovely shops. Buy lots of useful things. But let's explore the city. The smoggy, clanking, singing, stamping, thronging, frantic heart of the Reach. An ever-expanding port of soot-smudged glass and bright steel, spilling across a drifting, mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engine sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam. Locomotives chug into sidings for repair or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. So we can learn about trading, which I've already done, but I'm going to skim through the text on this one. Successful skyfarers fund their expeditions by dabbling in trade. A porter at the station advised you to visit the nearby pub, The Promise of Days, and talked to the seasoned captains there. Let's visit The Promise of Days. Old pistons gleam on the walls. Introduce yourself to the seasoned captains. I'm going to read this in full because I remember this being great. 4 are gathered at their usual table. the masked citizen, who has a little rat with an eye patch, which is awesome. A libertine, polymath, and pioneer of the neo-nocturnal artistic school. The bedeviled didact, a scholar haunted by his discoveries. The plucky baroness, explorer, collector, philatelist. And spatchcocker Meg, who hunts monsters. Of course, everything out here is jolly dangerous, says the baroness. Few risk the skies, so news of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports from the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. The more you turn in at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities on the way, advises the masked citizen. Passengers who want transport, rich men in need of bloody work, etc. Bloody work. And how we can make some trade. Philately will get you nowhere. You get your letters to places, though. Ah, the didact says, fiddling with his innumerable talismans. An essential topic. Meg slides you a stool, and the captains shuffle around to make room. The masked citizen buys you a drink of their own invention. It is violet and foggy. Non-binary characters, just normally being there. Fuck yes. The plucky baroness gives you a brisk, encouraging grin. Ask away. So I'm not going to read out all of this. Wait, yes I am, because there's some good text here. God damn it, fail better, you make your tutorials well written. You can sell practically anything in a big trade hub like New Winchester, the Baroness answers. If you want to buy, though, you'll need to travel to more distant ports. Each specialises in a particular export. So the idea of all these is you've got your central hub in each region, and that's where you sell shit. But to actually buy stuff and make a profit, you've got to go to places. However, Meg spits chewing tobacco onto the floor. No money in buying at market prices and selling at them too, though. You want to look for bargains, or prospects of people offering better money. Buy cheap, sell dear. So you can, sell any trade good on a major port. Lesser ports each sell a single good. Prospects is stuff you get at the market. The biggest port in each region has a bazaar where captains do business. There you'll learn of people at other ports prepared to pay over the odds for a commodity. When you accept the commission for a prospect, it's yours. No other captain will pursue it. It's all fantastically civilized. Their smile is droll. You'll have to source the goods yourself, of course, says the bedeviled didact. Find a port that exports them. The client will want a certain amount. You can supply some or all of it, but if you provide all they need, they may furnish you with an additional reward. So these are like specific things they want you to go and buy and sell. The host of Magdalene's needs an urgent delivery of seeds, paying a pretty penny too. If I were you, I'd go to the bazaar straight away, put my mark against it. Meg grunts. A broker in Port Avon is selling cheap seeds. Chirpy chap, God knows why. His face looks like it's been pushed through a mangle. An opportunity. Port Avon lies to the west-northwest of New Winchester, and Magdalene's lies to the southeast of New Winchester, which is not guaranteed because everything moves around in this fucking game, so your map will change between campaigns. Then there's stuff about bargains. You get bargains at quieter ports. It's pretty easy. I fucking love this line. Nepotism. Meg laughs. A noise like a sneeze crossed with a ricochet, which is a fucking great description there. It ain't who you is, it's who you know, innit? Nepotism, she taps her broken nose. Quite, the masked citizen remarks. The wider your circles, the more advantageous the opportunities that will present themselves. A wise captain makes the most of them. So we want to increase our affiliation to get new stuff easy enough. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about with them. And the answer is no. Onwards. So let's. I specialise in test driving, but I'm looking for something quieter. The driver indicates a crashed engine still smoking. Like that, without the screaming. So, our first officer. Officers are always good. Probably. They just give you more stuff. And you only have to pay them once. I recently parted ways with the Windward Company, they explained. Personally, I think a crash a week isn't so bad. They disagreed. Oh well, live and learn. An opportunity. The fastidious inspector wants passage. She is short and square-shouldered, in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office, the body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. I am hoping to book passage to Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Pay sounds promising. Sure, why not? There's actually no downside. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy than of diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Prosper lies to the south-southeast of New Winchester. 50 sovereigns. Woo! Let's have a look at this box. The mysterious box. Look how fucking mysterious that is. Captain Whitlock left it to you in the hold of the Orpheum. Her will described it only as a black box, a description you consider to be an unhelpful understatement. It is a casket of black basalt, longer than you are tall, unadorned, it looks somewhat adorned, with a single small recess that contains a keyhole. The thing must weigh most of a ton. It stands upright in a corner of the hold, where the crew have pushed it out of the way. So we can consider, we can try and remember, we can look at it, we can just sell it. Sell it? Well, not very much. We can talk to an academic to try and find it out. See, these require additional... or detonate it by just blowing it up. I'm not going to do any of those things. Let's consider. The last request of Captain Amelia Whitlock was for the box to be transported to a specific address in London. Alternatively, you could perhaps find someone willing to purchase it as a curiosity. Captain Whitlock had it brought on board just before your ill-fated expedition to the Blue Kingdom. It was empty then. You know because you saw the lid and the box carried on board separately and assembled in the hold. It's not empty now. It is sealed and even heavier than before. But you left for the Blue Kingdom shortly after the box was delivered and made no stops on the way. So whatever is inside the box now, Captain Whitlock found in the Blue Kingdom. I don't think I've actually been to the Blue Kingdom in like my previous playthroughs, because you can win this without exploring everything, which is good because it means like in future playthroughs you can explore more shit. There are no carvings or inscriptions on it. The join where the lid meets the body is too thin to admit even a knife blade. There are no holes by which light or air might find their way in. It's impossible to see inside without opening it. Even the keyhole has been engineered in such a way as to prevent peeking. The recess with the keyhole, though, as far as you can determine, that is a more recent addition to the box. The stone has been drilled and chiselled away to create space for a modern metal lock. So I'm not going to sell it. Not sure if I'm going to deliver it or try and open it this time. I still have no idea what it is. I delivered it in my previous game. So I don't think I need to repair. Maybe need to hire more crew. But first, let's look at our ambition, the Song of the Sky. Where to begin? So this is how you win the game, is by completing an ambition. You take advantage of a quiet moment to pull out your journal. The blank page sits before you, smug and unblemished. The horror. At last, inspiration strikes. You need fresh material. That's the ticket. So you need sky stories and tales of terror. Let's hire some crew, and then we should be off. 10 sovereigns is enough. Oh, I didn't. There's a story. There's even a story in this. New Winchester is abuzz with rumour. A famous tackety captain has turned tail and fled back to London, promised a generous pension and a full pardon in exchange for selling secrets. Our crew are at a loose end and under a cloud of suspicion. Yeah, let's hire them. They think you might be a journalist for the Gazette. Still, they're happy to drink on your coin. Right then. Sailors, now got a full crew. So, before I set off, probably... so I go to the bazaar, and this is why I find the prospect. So this is... Magdalen's wants seeds, 3 sacks of verdant seeds. So that's one of my goals. And this one is, Lostrum wants 5 crates of munitions in order to enforce a claim against the Windward Company. I'm sure that's absolutely fine. I don't have lots of money to buy equipment or anything, so let's just stock up on lovely fuel and food. Should probably assign the driver. That is a good point, Rose. Thank you. Oh yeah, I have a mascot, an obviously delicious rabbit. What round cheeks, what tender ears, and that rump. The obviously delicious rabbit looks like the sinful dreams of foxes. Which gives me some hearts, so let's do that. Consider the rabbit. This is my Kickstarter reward. Its fur is soft and sleek, its eyes are gently mournful, it is fat and round and succulent. Rabbit is such a versatile animal, good in pies and stews, perfect for casserole. How long has it even been since you've had a decent pate? Then there's ragu or curry, and fried rabbits. Oh, bless you, the rabbit sneezed sharply, disturbing your reverie. Yeah, so we've now assigned our engineer. And we can gamble with them to try and advance their story, but I don't have the money for that right now, so I'm going to just go and explore. Fueled up, I'm supplied up, I'm crewed up, so let's try and buy some. I'm just going to turn the music up a little bit. There isn't any right now, but who knows? So because you're not just on the ocean, then they can be much more interesting with the backdrop, and it's not just water, which, again, thematic for Sunless Seas, but I don't know about my computer or the game, because I remember on Cat's computer, which is better than my version. This happens occasionally as well. I need a new computer, basically. Ooh, what does that mean? Oh, that's like a new port, maybe? That is a useful legend right there, if it doesn't tell us what that exclamation mark is. Oh, I have a scout. That's what it's called. Ooh. Also, it made an owl noise, despite being a bat. I have concerns. So the reach is very mazy and tangling, like all of the forest and jungle and twisty. So going in a straight line is typically quite difficult. Albion used to be much more open, but apparently they made it smaller, more tangling, to be more interesting to navigate, which is a good thing. Giants, gargantuan blocks, jigsaw together, furred with moss and whispering urchins. A bucolic village nestles amongst them. Smoke coils daintily from the chimneys. A leisurely game of cricket unfolds in the village green. A ramshackle dock juts into the sky beside a farmyard scattered with rusty locomotive parts, plating, piping, a chugging motor with its electric exhaust. An oily-faced, black-haired girl waves your locomotive into position. Welcome to Port Avon, she calls as you disembark. A rich knot of scent greets you. Leaves of wood and smoke, enriched by an infrequent but pungent intrusion of goat. Port Avon welcomes you visitors, but your novelty will wear off the more time you spend there. You may bring something to keep them friendly. Port Avon spills prettily across sections of colossal drifting roads. Its orchards bask in the evening gold light of a distant nebula. So, yeah, you write ports to all the different places you visit and take them back home. Apparently the map exclamation points are to indicate that they have deals. The form posted a few months ago says that you're supposed to be able to collect more information. That doesn't always work. This resolution is simple. Well, that's fantastic. It's fine. Thank you for looking at it. Yeah, and your ports into the Indurate Veteran or the Prudent Cemetery. Were it not for talk of smugglers and sky beasts, you could easily confuse this place for a village on the world you left behind. It's quite peaceful here. apart from some fuss over a newspaper. The villagers frown and change the subject when you ask about it. I can't do any of these things because I don't have tea or gossip. But there is a devil. Let's talk to this devil. He's repentant, he's looking for passage, and he claims to be useful. He doesn't ask where you're headed. He needs way more sovereigns than I have. You can stay there for now, devil. So let's go to the village green and meet the Preservation Society. Have a relaxing stroll or watch a cricket match. Shall we watch some cricket? The heart of the village, surrounded by orchards of real apple trees that were shipped through the abbot horizon as seeds, an endowment of years from her renewed majesty grew them to swift maturity. So we know that time is fucky. Is there a more restful way to spend a great afternoon? Reading. You sink into the glacial rhythm of overs and innings. You enjoy the parabolic descent of the ball into a fielder's waiting hands. You admire the gnomic pronouncements of the Empire. That did nothing, because it reduces terror, of which I had none. I don't feel like visiting allotments. Let's go to the inn. Botheridge's A Tour of Heaven describes Port Avon's singular public house as a welcome respite, justly famed for its authentic old earth cider. The locals can be welcoming for a while. You may be able to recruit more crew. So we can read some speculative fiction, which is always fun in a sci-fi setting. Appreciate an amount of cider. Talk to a short-sighted cryptozoologist. She perches on a stool in the corner. A tiny figure weighed down by two backpacks and a heavy duffel coat looks through thick glasses at her map, and then up to you. Excuse me, I need passage. I don't suppose you could help me. I'm on the trail of an unusual beasts. I can pay you for your time. See, passengers take up no space, unlike in the previous game as well, which is good because you can just like get them on. Traitor's Wood, beamed the short-sighted cryptozoologist. She leaned in conspiratorially, as it turns out, to the wrong person. They say there's all sorts living in that place, and oh, sorry, she turns to you. There's all sorts living in that place, possibly even an ape man. Won't it be fun to find out? Let's intercede in a mushroomy manner. The pub is out of scrumpy. The barman blames a creature, a cross between a mushroom and a jellyfish. It sways in its seat at the bar. It's a Blemmigan. Who does this creature belong to? Bellows a man, fuchsia with rage. The Blemmigan, he points out, is a grizzled member of its species, most of whom were left behind in the neath. The fuchsia gentleman roars in fury. Between bellows, the truth emerges. The Blemmigan is no one's pet, and, far worse, no one will admit responsibility for its town. The Blemmigan is unconcerned with the tumult. It nods its cap at you with grim respect, then flops a tendril into a mug of stout. It stares obliquely through the window. You can settle its tab for 50. 50 is quite a lot. It does increase my iron. Do I want a Blemmigan? Am I happy with my bunny? I'm happy with my bunny for now. I'll come back. This is a problem for someone else. And now you can head upstairs. The new Somerset Hunting Club has exclusive rights to the rooms above the pub, as well as its finest bunnies. Thick cigar smoke curls through the air, filling this private chamber with premium-grade fog. Bloated gentlemen in well-worn military uniforms sit at mahogany tables, sipping port. They chunter of the old days and how very much better they were. Let's request membership. It was a famous club in old London. A stout veteran gives you a polite once-over. I suppose we could countenance an application. Of course, membership is not a matter of mere money. No, no. He directs your attention to the trophies. Most are old and musty. Neath creatures, deer, foxes, and a bear. All hunted in the members' now long-distant youth. Perhaps if you could help decorate our walls with some impressive local fauna, we can talk matters of first payment and then membership. Of course, we could hunt the beasts ourselves, and we will, by thunder we will. But the fire is so warm, and there is port left in the bottle. So we need to find a cantankerry, yep, a chorister, and a scribe spinster. Fun. I don't actually remember what you get for that, probably not very much. Right. Is there anything interesting at the ruins? What palace was this? What giant king made his home here? And why did he abandon the vast stores of souls that the locals still quarry from beneath the stones? Perhaps you might risk a furtive excavation of your own. Not one of the looming stones is quite square, yet they all slot together immaculate. What were these ruins before their fall? Even their bones are tall and stately as the finest cathedrals of old France. What purpose did they serve in the past? Plentiful days when their suns still shone. You could have an excavation or enjoy the surroundings. All is well. Well, that's a worrying fact that can be a status. How they saw, how tragic, how solemn, like the most rampant visions of the turn. I had a success. How vast were the beings that resided here? Were they kings? Was this their palace? You sit in the monumental shadow of a stone and watch the stars wheel above. What must they think, those stars, to see such grand ruins become the abode of such tiny, brief things? Okay, let's check out shops. An horticultural opportunity. I want to buy stuff, but I don't have the whole space, because no one rests like Gaston, stays in bed like Gaston, gulps down cases of fine Avon red like Gaston. Pretty good. Good job. You dog. I'll come back on my way back to port. So, we can investigate something grave, or we can keep going. That's an important part of like a new zone in this game is like mapping it to make it port. So like the story is going to tell you to go here. So go there. You can't go there. Well, you can, it just takes a while. Your owl, not an owl, settles on your bedpost and goes to sleep. Or maybe it is an owl. Oh, I remember now. I have an owl. I have actually looked at my holding. I have a bat. And a cyclopean owl, again, thanks to Kickstarter. Which hoots scornfully at your suggestions. I think it's better than the bat, like the scalps I can find. Oh hey, I've leveled up. And this is the fucking level up, like character advancement. It's not just you get a level, you choose something about your past, and that improves your stats, which is great. So I was a revolutionary, but I was an artist as well. So any of these would actually make sense. I'm going to say I'm scarred though. You came close that day to death, it left its mark. What was it that nearly killed you? There is a bullet scar beside your heart. You have learned since to be more judicious in your choice of friends. Now that just tells you like a lot, so yeah. Quiet. Too quiet. It's found a horror and something that glisters. I'm going to go away from the horror towards the shadow. Settings very fun, especially this area. Quite good in that when they are near damage or near death, like you do see them get more damage, like fiery. Ooh, The crew of the Marauder lie dead in the corridor, killed not by your guns, but knives and small arms fire. The only survivor is the captain, locked in a brig with the bottle of brandy. Chalk eyes stare back from every wall. When he ran out of chalk, he began scraping them in with his fingernails. Little remains of them but bloodied stumps. I hate fingernail stuff. Seen this before, Captain, says a crew member, grasping your arm. Sky madness. Magdalens can treat it if you can be bothered to take the poor sod. So we can bring the poor fellow on board, or put him out of his misery. Trying to work out what sort of captain. Grant us eyes. No, no Bloodborne. Actually, yes, but I need to play more Bloodborne. Even though I'm not going to play Sekiro. See, is my character going to be more the... we don't have the food. Or, like, sympathetic. Because revolutionary, which could make them cold. Or, like, revolutionary, which could make them, like, a bit more idealistic. I'm going to bring them on board because quests are more interesting than not quests. Who was piloting to fight you? If the crew is dead and the captain is incapacitated. You raise a good point. Oh, now I'm concerned. Now I don't want to bring him on board. We must find out. The crew wrap the sky-maddened captain in blankets, then secure them tightly with belts. It takes 4 to transport him safely to your locomotive. He might not be happy with straying, but it should keep him from harm till you get him to Magdalene's. Magdalene lies to the southeast of New Winchester. Captain secured, you have a moment to see whether there's anything of worth on his locomotive before abandoning it to the wilderness. So I'm just going to keep exploring. Let's just repair what little hull damage we have. Don't want to risk it. So I'm going to keep exploring up in this direction and then turn around. The fastidious inspector approaches you in the galley. Captain, good day. I noticed your ship's clock had stopped. Perhaps you'd permit me to repair it. Good morning. Glad I got home before the stream ended. Good morning to you, Shinji. I clapped in front of the mic. Hopefully the pop filter stopped that being annoying. Yeah, I'll be going for a while. I can just keep up with this. Let's permit it. You prefer things to be right more than twice a day. Twice a day, at least. She gives a grateful flicker of a smile and sets to work. Soon she has the back off the clock and has spread tiny cogs across the galley table. Obscure horological tools gleam brassily among them. Everything has a place. I appreciate the opportunity to keep myself busy. Staring too long at the stars is harmful to the temperament. She gives the impression of being perpetually busy. What are the duties of an agent of the horological office? She sniffs. It is of fundamental importance that 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in one corner of the Empire occurs at the same time as 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in the opposite corner. How is an empire to function if it can't agree what day it is? Unfortunately, the process is complicated by the fact that time is less reliable than it was. The hours trade has seen to that. The seat of the Empire lies in far-off Albion, where a man-made sun burns in the sky. Another sun blazed there once, before her renewed majesty conquered it. London sits in her coat of smog. Courtiers squabble at the foot of the throne of hours, hoping to receive endowments of years. Meanwhile, hard-working civil servants labour to ensure everything runs as it should. Was there a touch of archness there? All is normal. I miss her, though. There's no city like London in all the skies, and Albion is very different from the Reach. Much more civilized. The wide, wild frontier. A sunless domain, but impossibly verdant. It has an uncouth splendour, but I miss Albion and the steady light of the clockwork sun. These sunless reaches are so misty and quiet. She pauses. But critical, the territories here are rich with raw hours, and enough vegetation grows on them to feed the whole of London, even if some of it is a dubious shape. You've heard the Empress awards her favourites with gifts of years to extend their lives, and that you can become rich mining for hours to satisfy London's hunger for them. Oh, ours have more uses than that. We use them to increase the efficiency of work worlds, to speed journeys to distant regions, to resolve overcrowding in prisons. It does make my life more difficult when time knots and stretches like wool on the loom. More difficult, but more vital. Her Majesty seized a great trove of them when she assumed the throne of ours, and now even more have been found in the Reach. Miners dig them from the ground. She looks momentarily wistful. I hope someday to retire with a modest pension of years myself, to prolong the better part of my retirement. The Winchester War. Times, properties and skies concerns me greatly. Yes, yeah. The reach is torn by discontent between London loyalists and the more independent settlers. There are those who feel that London is a long way away and that they do a better job of governing themselves. The frontier attacks independent spirits. We call them tacketees for the hobnail boots that are so practical out here. London, unsurprisingly, disagrees. The Windward Company earnestly represents Her Majesty's interests in the region, sometimes very earnestly indeed. The tacketees call London loyalists stovepipes, for our hats, I suppose. She avoids looking at you. And you, Captain? Where do your sympathies lie? So, the backstory is revolutionary. I don't necessarily have to have maintained that attitude in my trip into the skies. Coke Zero sponsors this street. It doesn't. Goddamn. But I don't think I'm going to be like a company girl, so I don't think I'm going to be London. No rules, no masters. We are never free of the past, she says, her hands touching her pocket watch. Never. Let's compliment her skills. Thank you, she says, a small, embarrassed silence. How am I finding it so far? So I said at the start of the stream, which one person was watching, I played Skies like the week before it came out. I got early access to the finished version. Finished, always improving. I avoided most of the early access because I do that because there's enough finished games for me to play. I don't want to like tarnish my early impressions of a game I'm excited for by playing an unfinished buggy version of it. But anyway, so I've already finished it once and played a bit more of like continued character because there's a legacy thing. Once you finish, you can start again with your same ship. And then I got distracted, and that was February, January when it came out. So it's been a while, and there's been some improvements. I fucking love it. It's very addictive, but more importantly, it's very evocative in the setting and art and writing and music. Just right, so it's a bit of a good evening. And to you, Captain, I think I shall make a cup of tea. So, shiny thing. Ooh, shiny thing. I found some crockery to go with that tea. Same here with avoiding the air. Just haven't been as quickly as I found. Yeah, that seems to be how it goes. There's too much stuff. Too much content. 4 hours and hours and hours into something to get the most things to get the most out of it. Instead of lifestyle things. Yeah, they've definitely, they've kept the core of Sunless Seas, but more crockery. But they've definitely made lots of quality of life improvements and story improvements as well, I think. What is that? Something to crave. Well, that's part of Seas was working out loops along the map where you go to all the different or lots of different ports. Yeah, Seas, but without lots of early game we might do. Yeah, for sure. The early game in Seas was quite repetitive. To be honest, I haven't played this enough and started again enough, but to know if that grind is true or not, but yeah, I can definitely see it as not being as the same in the beginnings. And they've made each of the, even the more boring, classic legacies like Money and Fame, narrative, which is great. And yeah, I was very close to opening a new creative field to start the empty one. Yeah, they're not. That'd be hard to do mechanically. probably wouldn't. You just sort of don't tick the number down. Immediately empty the plate you already have. What is the it's just the seed. That looks fine. I'm sure it's fine. These shapes. Need some butchery to harvest the squiggles in the sky. I have Neho, may love Nego. Every breath my heart is cold. Fold my arms and raise my hood and lay me down in trenches wet. Sea shanties. Traitor's Wood is a sprawling, secluded forest on the edge of the Reach. Few venture beneath its gloomy boughs, and legend speaks of a king who sleeps under the barrow at the wood's heart. Let's go to a campfire. 3 figures draped in scholars' robes huddle around a campfire. They are arguing about kings. A banner in the colours of Somerset, London University's most respectable college, gleams in the firelight. As you approach, the discussion dies. One of the scholars, a woman with a fierce expression, stands up. Only scholars should be here. Are you one? I could be, or I could have friends, or I can just give them some food. Which always makes me happy. So I'm going to do that. The vituperative classicists compares your offering with the burnt toast and wan tea they had been suffering on. Well, all right, I suppose. The woman is a vituperative classicist. Her companion's a dismal paleographer, a forlorn young man, and a feckless theologian. A handsome youth with an easy smile. They explain that they are here to enter the regent's grave, where they believe a sleeping king lies buried. They do not agree as to the king's identity. Unfortunately, the college has cut our funding, the classicist explains. Speak to us if you'd be interested in helping. How can we help? Your inquiry induces a rare spirit of cooperation in the scholars. The last expedition into the woods found a document written in the correspondence. It contained directions to a place called the Steward's Font, the theologian explains. Alas, that is all it needs to break their alliance. The paleographer begins to argue that the steward was a chief position in Charlemagne's household. The classicist makes a pointed reference to Inanna's husband. The theologian's smile is forced. If you could find the font, it would be an immense boon to my work. There are sputters of protestation. Our work. So we can talk to all these people. The divinity student has a dozen bad habits and a firm conviction that St. John the Apostle slumbers in the regent's grave. His tent is the largest of the 3. Its interior has been decorated with carpets and throws which trap the smoke from his hookah. The air is a scented fog. The theologian is reclining on cushions, drinking wine. What does he think about the paleographer? The theologian smiles innocently. Yes, we used to know each other very well indeed. That was back in college, before all his passion got sucked out of him, he sighs. Some people can't accept change. And the classicist? She's very talented and very funny, and not at all nice, and she's furious with me. Why? He won't say. I think I've done enough damage, with both of them, he shakes his head. If it weren't for St. John and the academic senate sending me here, I doubt I'd have seen her again, until she became principal, of course. About his theory. He is delighted to have been asked that question. According to the legend Aurea, St. John is sleeping somewhere, waiting for the coming of the Antichrist, which would mean the end of the world. And what is the high wilderness but that? We left the world behind and the stars are going out, and just after we arrive we discover a tomb hidden in an ancient wood. He runs a hand through his hair. Sometimes we must have faith. Let's talk to the other people. The student of the ancient world is armed with more scorn than a vengeful goddess and a firm conviction that the Sumerian Queen of Heaven sleeps in the regent's grave. The classicist tent is practical and largely unadorned. The interior is damp from her various walking clothes, which have been scattered across the floor. Old playbills and gaudy costume jewellery hang from the tent ceiling like charms. She's pacing the tent, reading Herodotus while smoking up a storm. Isn't it obvious? She rolls her eyes. Fine, I'll tell you what I told the academic senate. The high wilderness is heaven, not as the church conceives it, but as the Sumerians did. A place of stars and chaos and impossible powers, in proximity to and affecting our own world, but far, far removed. She pauses for breath. Inanna, the Queen of Heaven, entered the underworld in search of her husband and was trapped for a time. That is the myth. This may be the truth. She waves her hand dismissively. Besides, we made some promising discoveries in the wood. And what does she think of theologian? Her invective goes on for an hour, and she only remembers to fetch you tea midway through. A liar, and a traitor, and a fool, she says, spooning in entirely too much sugar. I loathe him. Her hand shakes as she pauses. And the paleographer. She laughs scornfully, but refuses to be drawn. I will not waste breath on the undeserving. People are mean to him. Also, I don't really know what a paleographer is. Forlorn student of medieval manuscripts. Well, thank you. Believes that the Emperor Charlemagne lies in the regent's grave. The tent is some distance from the rest of the camp and almost in the forest. It is smaller and more warm than the tents of the others. Inside, however, the tent is both warm and sturdy. No rain leaks through the oilskin. The paleographer's inks and reference books and old theatre handbills are neatly sorted. The paleographer is at a little wooden desk, conjugating the subjunctive. Let's ask about his. It's a little strange, I admit. You certainly won't find this in Einhard, but there are legends that say the great king did not leave his people on death, and instead sleeps in a barrow, waiting for their hour of need. He almost smiles. You query his people? I do not forget that we are British. He pauses for effect. But is our queen not of German parentage? Would not her ancestor look out for her, Europe's greatest monarch, as she embarks on her most significant endeavour? The paleographer is lost in thought. When he answers you, he looks rueful. The three of us were at college together in the same year. We were all interested in the theatre, but eventually he pursued other things. I hadn't seen him in years, until the Traitors' Wood funding came up at the Senate. He sniffs. His intellect is second-rate, but his charm is first-class. We can't all be brilliant. He sighs despondently. A remarkable scholar, and a terrifying Goneril. At college, when she trod the boards, he shakes his head. Ancient history now, which is her province, not mine. He makes a strong cup of tea for himself and then offers you the same. Bitterness has curdled her. He sips his drink, then grimaces. Like this milk. So we can go on some sort of expedition. We can gather some flowers. You can only perform one of these actions a fortnight. The wood guards its secrets. So we can do the edges of the wood. Let's try and get some seeds to sell. It's not going to go well. We've got 19% chance. The quiet verge is by a gushing, gurgling streams adorned with flowers as bright as Navarrete gems. Your knees are soon green with grass stains as you probe the delicate flowers in search of seeds. Your crew assist, wandering the fringes of the forest in search of other flora. A stoker pulls you away from your work. A crew member is missing. They heard a woman's voice from deeper in the wood and ventured further in. They do not return. Didn't you provide the food? Why are you giving them curdled milk? I mean, geez, it's not my fault. Refrigeration isn't an exact science. I'm in a space trade, not the future. He hasn't replaced his milk with the food I've given him. Clearly. It's a departing glade. What might be an owl calls from somewhere in the wood. In the far distance, a great stone barrow rises over the trees. We're a train in space, not a perfected FedEx. Exactly! The glade, an oasis of wildflowers and sweet meadow field in the midst of the brooding trees, is where captains meet to do business and bring their ventures to the wood into conclusion. Wedges to the wood to conclude. Maybe we can hunt for creatures. Oh yeah, she did want to be here. She wanted to go somewhere else in my other game. An amazing discovery. Yeah, I'd be happy the milk arrived. Although yeah, curdled not so useful. Probably better to not arrive. The cryptozoologist grabs your arm. Look, there! And indeed, deep in the woods, where little light can penetrate, you see a shape. Hunched over, covered with hair. The cryptozoologist digs into her backpack and pulls out a blowgun. Tranquilizer, she explains, fitting an ungainly telescopic sight on top of it. Frit. The dart strikes her target. With a howl of protest, it collapses. You follow the cryptozoologist to the unconscious body of a bearded man in a thick coat. Undaunted, she heads back into the woods in search of a discovery that won't swear as much upon waking. You leave her before she can mistake you for her quarry. So she's buggered off into the woods, and we have an otherworldly artifact and some sovereigns. Let's write a report. There's no one here. Outside of the Somerset camp, the great forest of bronzewood trees has gone untouched by human hands. Voices sound in the deeps of the woods, forlorn and far away. The wood is vast and vastly lonely. There is no one else here at present, but there are signs of recent passage. A discarded set of cups from some clandestine picnic, loose paper hastily torn from a notebook, a few bullets in scorched grass. People come to the glade to conduct meetings as neutral bound, and as a place to think, secluded from the watchful gaze of the high wilderness. Bad news is the shipment of milk didn't make it. Good news is we have a new shipment of cheese. That's not how... You don't get cheese by just leaving milk. That's not how cheese works. I don't know how cheese works, but I know that's not it. Probably. I don't know very much at all. Okay, anything else to explore? Ooh, we can buy some hours. Don't think I need them. See, I like how you can buy supplies to then give to the fucking academics. Don't worry about it. I'm going to buy some time. That's not how cheese works, not with that attitude. Not with any attitude. This is not goddamn that game where wishing is hard enough makes things real. Damn it. Apparently my scout found something, I don't know what. Something... Oh, it's more... I assume meat, because I need butchery, but I don't know what it is, so I'm concerned. Anyway, that requires a certain, like, train upgrade. Let's go see ship upgrade. This isn't a ship, this is a train. I'd be worried about helping the academics. Assisting those poking around end of the world, things that end the world seems unwise. Welcome to Sunless Skies, where things that end the world are a dime a dozen, except a sovereign and a halfpenny a dozen? I don't know what the equivalent of a dime is in this. Not very much. Spooky shit is everywhere. Have you seen what is on the screen right now? Down there. So yeah, so I think I missed a thing in there which was like explore the forest, but that requires like a lot of supplies and crew, and I don't have the funds to get enough supplies yet. So basically, buy some seeds. first of all, we buy some seeds. How much money do we have now? 79. Not enough for a devil, enough for a Blaminion, but I want to get there. I want to get more. So we will go via over here. My scout has discovered something. Okay. No, it's not. I guess that's the case. I never use that in the previous game because I just go where I need to. I'm going to hand in my couple of reports. So you get the choice in this one. As in C's, you hand in all your reports at the at London. But now you get the choice on who to inform the Tacites or the Windward Company, so London or the rebels in the other way around. And this actually tilts the cause of there's a war in the Reach. But in my last game I helped the Tacites because fuck the system, but the character I'm playing right now is totally also fuck the system, so I'm going to do that again anyway. Settlers who live so far beyond the edge of civilization relish the hardships of solitude. They will fiercely defend their small territories, but occasionally welcome company and trade. You sit down beside a cold, silent homestead. The windows are boarded, the door locked, but the foliage in the garden hasn't grown wild. It was abandoned in a hurry, and recently. Let's search. Oh shit, I failed. The house is empty, except for a stinking corpse laid out on the kitchen table. A tablecloth, rapidly discolouring, has been laid over it for modesty. Boxes under the table contain old crockery, which must have been imported through the arid horizon in the first days of the Empire's expansion. A crate of nostalgic crockery, but also some terror. That's a lot of crockery. I'm going to lose my fuel. Fuel is cheaper than nice. No, it's slightly different from the one question. Sure. And also combat so much better. It's an option, it's just because that's not how boats work. I mean, this is very much not how trains work, but we're in space, so. Still part of New Winchester, but this is, sorry, the Windward Company. Food and Secretary. Assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers called Tacites gather an army. Tireless exertions during the blockade earned her both a seat on the assembly and enemies. She likes to be kept impressed. Which give me gratitude and improves their odds in war. Trade these favours for useful things, including if you just give them a big boost of war success. Music might be a bit loud, thank you, I will change that in a second. The music is so infrequent. Da, 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 da. Let's turn everything down some more. Maybe not. No. Who knows? Let me know. Ooh. A scrubbed clerk begs a moment of your time. Halliges, the banking house. I promise this will only take a moment of your unquestionably valuable time. We hear promising things about you, Captain. Very promising indeed. We would like to extend our services. We provide a secure solution for the storage of your assets, absolute discretion, and steadfastness unto death and beyond. We require only a signature. The offer is entirely complimentary, I assure you. At Halliges, we measure ourselves by the quality of our clientele. So yeah, we can store stuff at port instead of in our vaults. Oh, wait, did that not? Oh, okay, I clicked the wrong thing. I am certain that this represents the beginning of a long and warm relationship between ourselves and your lineage. May it endure. I bid you good day, Captain. You can access your bank, blah-de-blah-de-blah, central port of any region, blah-de-blah-de-blah. This also is a way of moving goods between captains. So if you die or you just retire your captain, then you keep everything that's in the bank. So the bat over there, for example. So I could sell my crockery, considering it was free. I get more trunk space. Oh no, I'm American. I get more hold space. So I'm going to go and try and find Maglins. I usually use it to buy up all the cheap deals and store them for a selling deal. Prospects, yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, I could have sold that stored that crockery and sold it later, which later in the game I probably would have done, but especially early on it's good to just have some cash, especially because I didn't buy that. It's pure profit, baby. So that gives me a buffer for fuel and supplies and things like that. So speaking of fuel and supplies, let's go and find Magdalene's. Early game straight up cash is like, yeah, like you want to get your officers, which improve your stats, and you want to not run out of money to buy fuel and to buy those cheap things, you know. Like, but yeah, once you have that floating money, then yeah, that's a good point. In late game, you get into the next character in your lineage, so it's just a cash infusion for them as well. See, the tricky thing for me is because I played it all through on the easier difficulties last time, even though this is now middle instead of like full on, I don't say hard, but like normal mode, my estimates of how far I can go on the food and fuel are going to be just off, so that's going to be fun. Possibly on a bun. Come on, Magdalene's. I don't need you. So yeah, I'm also trying to work out other games that I want to stream. Like I definitely want to do Cultist Simulator because I've had, I don't want to say requests, but I've talked to friends about like doing that. I'll probably use that tomorrow if I've got the energy and voice. Ooh, a homestead. This homestead is placed in a patchwork of corrugated iron. As you land, the barrel of a rifle pokes up from a boarded window and fires, kicking up a spray of grass at your feet. How unfriendly! I'm going to return fire. I'm not going to stand for this. Partial success. Well done. Your rounds ping off the house's iron skin and find the gaps between its makeshift plates. There is an agonized scream, a spray of blood, the sound of a gun's chamber locking. They must be on the verge of surrender, surely. Then you smell burning. Someone lit the steadying ablaze. A door door slams. You can see figures running through the smoke. Let's pursue the villains. Content Simulator is going through absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I fucking love it. I got fully addicted to it when it came out, and a couple of weekends ago again, and I am absolutely going to stream it at some point because it's great. And it's impenetrable, so hopefully it'll help a couple of my friends who bounce off it at the beginning actually get into it. Also, hi, Cultist Sim fans, have some tattoos. Playing the hardest available, usually keeping 4 to 6 in each. Yeah, that sounds about right. Need to increase the hold space, that's always a priority for me in these. Pursue the villains. You order your crew forward, racing around the smouldering homestead and through the billowing smoke. There, a shadow ahead, a bullet whizzes through the choking smog. You are lucky. Your signaller is not. Blood runs through the smoke. There is more gunfire. There are more bodies. You recover a hefty bag of coinage from the slightest cause. I got some money. I lost a crew, but the crew are cheap. I need to hire more of them. But yeah, so apart from Cultist Sim and more of this, like other games I could stream, suggestions are welcome, basically, is what I'm saying, because it's been a while. Like, I pressed the wrong dodge button. Good. So Overwatch, I abandoned. Yeah, that's the thing, all the really high skill names. Crew is cheap if you have concerns. They are though. They're literally 10 sovereigns for 3, and I lost 1 crew for 50 sovereigns. That is a good return on investment right there. Like, I could stream from Hearthstone again, but everyone streams Hearthstone. And I'm good. I'm not like world fucking class or anything like that, but maybe a little bit of that. I'm not gonna try and like stick to one thing. Like I tried when I was last streaming to do like Hearthstone and Eternal and maybe other stuff and like alternate, but that kind of got boring very quickly because I get distracted. So like I'm obviously gonna try and stick to a thing until I'm not gonna do it anymore. Obviously like I'll do a few things at a time, but I don't want to just be like I'm gonna play Hearthstone every Sunday because that way lies me feeling like I have to play Hearthstone every Sunday. Let's... Ooh. Always go for the unusual items. The cabin door did not survive the onset of your guns, nor did the captain. You have to tread carefully. The carpet will not be saved. A few scorched documents sit on a bronzewood desk. They make for interesting reading. Southeast, wasn't it? Where are you? The wreck gleams with frost, its windows are dark, its engines silent. Perhaps something of value lies within. Excuse me. Let's signal the wreck. Maybe we can find a clue. Your signaller fetches their signal lamp and flashes a patient message into each portside window. There, a faltering glow burns in the frost. Someone has struck a match. Dispatch a boarding party. They retrieve a survivor who is eager to sign on and a hard worker, if certainly for more long isolation. I can read words, Susan. Aha! That looks to be a port. see. So I think my terrible recollections of the patch notes, like Terror now is harder to lower than when I played before. Like it used to lower pretty happily when you got to a 14 if it wasn't a new one, and now it's much harder. So you've got to like make use of the options or deal with the consequences. Too long in the sky. The impertinence. Sounds like I'm at the right place. Whoop! Star Madness. Make me chase you. Oh god, there's so many dudes. Each one of them is quite important. I'm not even dealing with that shit, I'm just dealing with this dude. You guys can keep fighting amongst yourselves. Shotgun. Space shotgun. Erratically, which makes sense with their sound. Dude, you're in the way. You rammed me. They were driven mad by the wind and the stars and the things that haunt the sky. I do not want a game crew from this place. A distressingly odoured barrel. You pry the lid off. Dear God, what the blazes? Your navigator pokes the thing inside with a big stick until assured that it's dead. Level up. So now I'm at level 3. So I have my previous options and also new options. The liberation of night. You began to hear of a secret sect or philosophy among the most extreme anarchist cells. The liberation of night. So some of the level up options are specific to your background. This is the revolutionary one. The liberation advocated revolt not only on earth but in heaven. It claimed the light was law and that we would only be free in the dark. When a masked fanatic tried to convert you, how did you respond? Your eyes were opened, or you sent him packing. So this gives you some quite useful things. If you're going for sort of benefits side of things. But I think that is a bit much for my first. I think that's like, yeah, okay, you can do with that. Yeah, his words smacked of religion, which, as the very Reverend Kingsley said, is too often an opium dose for keeping beasts of burden patient while they're being overloaded. Sure. Maglems is the closest thing many Skyfares have to a home. It offers services to alleviate the strain of a life spent too close to the stars. So yeah, you can treat some nightmares and terror. I'm first of all, before I forget, going to sell my seeds. Its host will tell you any lie you need to hear. Some of these lies require flowers. The amenable host wants up to 3 sacks of verdant seeds and will pay 80 sovereigns for each. The amiable host smiles. Just what we needed. Although I must admit I do miss roses and lilies and bluebells. Still, these celestial blooms have their own virtues. Some of them weep, you know. He pays you a generous gratuity. So you not only get the 80 each from selling it, but you get 100 sovereigns as a bonus. So let's buy some wood. It's a bargain. The glass spires of Magdalenes pierce the clouds like swords. Shadowed figures can be seen moving through the gleaming corridors, their identities obscured by the hued glass. Crowds of skyfarers, ministry officials and merchants mill around the forecourt in varying degrees of distress. All watch the clock set in the great clock tower, waiting for their appointed hour. Oh yeah, let's deliver our maddened person who we've just had for a while now. The nurses bring a stretcher to carry the sky-maddened captain from your train. He'll receive the care of Magdalen's finest, at least Magdalen's finest with a sense of charity, given that he has nothing on him to pay for their ministrations. There we get a vision of the heavens. Oh, the host wants to see me. I don't know why. Possibly because I helped. Let's write a report first. Magdalene's is abuzz with activity. Barely has the clock chimed than a clamour goes up at the front desk. Guests rushing to and from appointments. Lord was seen in conversation with the amenable host. The east wing was closed for general access all day. A certain distinguished admiral was seen with his second-in-command entering one of the chambers of regret. Several guests succumbed to an excess of sentimentality and were forcibly removed. I almost got there. An attendant escorts you through the dazzling violet corridors. The host's red door is always open. The attendant leaves you just as the clock begins to chime. The amenable host reclines on a couch of crushed velvet, a goblet of sparkling wine in his long fingers. Somewhere in the tower above him, the great clock ticks away. As a policy, the host's atrium is always open to guests. He is available to hear opinions, friendly criticism, and suggestions. Today, he has a headache. His voice is soft and sibilant, like butter melting in candlelight. A guest has become rather too attached to a particular attendant. He always requests that the same attendant appear in the exact same guise. The amenable host's lip curls in distaste. He reiterates the aim of Magdalene's, a place of healing and respite. It was not meant to feed obsession or self-indulgent self-loathing. This guest brings sickness. I would have him purged. I have a dossier on our guest, if you're interested in helping. Let's take the dossier. The amenable host smiles indulgently. That's a grammatical error right there. I'm so glad you want to help. He produces a thin sliver of pages and passes them to you. I'd recommend taking on the role of one of our attendants. That way you'd be playing the role of someone significant to him. The amenable host sighs, reaching for his goblet. He knows all of our attendants by voice now. Someone new is needed. Let's do some shenanigans. The lachrymose guest. How do you plan to deal with him? A treatment chamber has been emptied for you should you wish to adopt a guise from his past. Alternatively, he is standing right there. He does not seem to have noticed you, his eyes instead boring through the doors of the treatment rooms. Approach directly, disguise yourself as his mother or as his lover. See, I think my gal Shaw, Captain Shaw, very blunt. I'm gonna deal with this shit. The lachrymose guest's eyes widen as you approach. Has there been a problem? You invite him to sit. Stiff brandies are ordered. You recount your own share of heartbreaks and tragedies, how you found yourself here, and you make it clear that despite all of that, you will be leaving. He nods slowly, and after a quick shake of your hand, walks away towards the station. He does not look back. The amenable host smiles beautifully. Of course, my staff will be pleased. It is a risk of our trade when our clients can no longer separate identity and illusion, but seldom pleasant. He sighs deeply, echoing around the chamber like a new freed dove. It is a trap any of us could fall into. His face darkens briefly. Here, take this. It's dangerous to go alone. He fishes around beneath his couch for one of the goblets. His goblets. It'll fetch a pretty price. Take it with my thanks. And do visit us again. So, I'm going to buy some supplies, because I'm flush with cash. Right, let's... What are my actual tasks here? You want to get to London. So London has like a toll to get to, which I could probably pay at this point, but I want to do a bit more in here. Again, my first one, I sort of tapped out the reach, which I was fine with, but then like I did finish the game before I could really explore the later two zones. So I'm gonna do some of the reach, but I don't want to finish every fucking story in here. And same when I get to Albion as well. So I will be sort of trying to get to the later stuff, but yeah. So she needs to go to Port Prosper, which is to the southeast. They need some stuff. They need me to do expeditions and everything else I can finish with. So southeast is down there. Or I can go up here. Port Prosper is chatter on your current place with Oh, right, okay, yeah. As in you're saying that my chatter on my plan makes sense, yes. I mean, for one thing, I want to have, like... I mean, I love this game. I'll happily do the same stuff again, but, like... new stuff is good. I want to explore it. Our homestead is almost hidden beneath a growth of wild, sprouting foliage, as if it were the victim of a fairy tale curse. The flora of the reach is difficult to tame, and the settlers that dwell here are struggling. So I can give them some munitions for some bronze with, which is more valuable, so yeah, I'll do Are you in order? We're in spooky darkness. That looks like an order. It's a dumb one, it's just rammed itself into the fucking wall, but... Reverse, my friend. It'll be hard to loot over there. Easiest fight ever. I am the greatest. Oh, well, yeah, I need some repairs. Lots of wax, it seems. Nope, okay, fine. Captain, should we maybe put it in reverse? No, we shall not give an inch. No, I just mean to turn about. Not an inch, I say. Yeah, that's the only logical explanation. Oh my, this looks bad. As you clamber through the hole, your lamps reveal uncanny marks around it. Were they caused by ricocheting shrapnel or by vast teeth? Your boarding party's search is unsurprisingly hurried. They retrieve only handfuls of valuables before the hole's groans encourage them to return to your vessel. Not all of them make it. The wreck buckles with a shriek that might have issued from the throat of hell and spins apart. Probably not worth that one. Also, definitely not because there's a fucking order right here. just looting. Yay. Loot the hold. Another distressingly odoured barrel. If I recall correctly, Port Prospero's you can buy most useful things, so let's force open the doors to the hold. Oh god damn, stop eating my crew! Your crew attached cables to the wreck to hold it steady as they pry apart the doors. A sudden gust of wind rocks both vessels, and the young man straining at the pry bar slips. He cries out, his hand mangled on a torn edge of metal. He is likely to lose his fingers. The treasure you retrieve from the hold will be little comfort to him. But I found 2 uncanny specimens. 2. That's worth a dude, right? Probably. Ah, the sky be a cold. God, so many marauders. Appear to be in a combat already. Problem because like I don't want to accidentally hit attack a team and get them aggro. It's a 4-way fight there. I don't think uncanny specimens would be a comfort to anyone. It's a good point. Loot the hold, loot the hold, loot the hold. An intriguingly bulging sack. A stoppered vial falls out of the sack after sufficient shaking, a collection of gathered disappointments that someone might be willing to pay for. 2 jumbles of undistinguished souls. I do the thing where I do that. That one wasn't my fault. That was because I was looking at you, Chad. You rude people. Well then, I guess I'm going to stay away from this horse shit. That looks to be a okay, bye bye. I'm finishing soon enough actually, so yeah, I'm not going to miss much. Thanks for watching. Port Prospero, the Mornington Appetite Man. Crammed at the feet of a hulking crag, Port Prosper is a little London, divided into an affluent West End and an impunctuous East. Queen's Cross is a busy station, crowded with engines that have arrived through the nearby transit relay from Albion. Let's just deliver our inspector. I do not have enough space in the hold. Okay. We can offer transport. One way to Lustrum, thank you kindly. By Jove, I think it's finally my time to see the real frontier. That one wasn't my fault because I was looking at you, chat. Are you sure we weren't focused on the intriguingly bulging sack? Rude! No! No rudeness in my chat. So... recruit the incognito princess. Oh, the princess. Perched atop a mountain of luggage is a radiant young woman. She's an officer dressed in what an actor would wear in a fantastical romance. A tiara rests on her brow. A steady stream of commoners comes to pay homage, bowing and curtsying enthusiastically. Starlings circle in dense swarms above her, refugees from old London and a common sight, though not in such numbers. She ignores everything and hands you papers so pristine that they can only be forged. She would certainly make an interesting addition to your crew. Hell yeah, she would. I am a humble first officer looking for, what's the word? When commoners do things for coins? She asks. Work, that's it. She beams at you, delighted, as innocent as a Gatling gun. As she steps aboard, a commoner calmly takes a spoon from his pocket and scoops out his eyes. After such radiance, all else is tawdry, he says between screams. It seems she has already forgotten about her signing on money. That's a hell of a thing that just happened in here. God damn it. Whoever wrote that. Which I think was Emily Short. I can't remember. Passage to Albion. A garrulous captain is delighted to have an excuse to talk. I'm happy to help, Captain, happy to help. They point down the docks. There you are, keep going past the port. You can't miss it. If you've good eyes, you might even be able to see it from here. Passage ain't free, mind. You can travel first class if you have a ministry stamped permit, or you can bring a couple of barrels of ours to travel second class. Chairman's offices. Here's a dude, he's drinking brandy and has reports. Produces a ruler to measure the amounts. I like it. To business. He smiles, revealing extensive damage to his teeth. I was a pugilist back in London, a young man's game. He stands at the window, watching the starlight bathe the sloping streets of Prosper. This place exists because of constant work, from the politicians who planned it, to the pioneers who built it, to the soldiers who even today defend it from the Takatis. We have need of more such work. Bring me nameplates from Takati engines. We keep lists. You'll be rewarded. Yeah, no. He sighs as though used to disappointment. He allows you to finish your brandy before ringing a little bell. His secretary escorts you out. My door, he says as you leave, is always open. Explore Port Prosper. Its narrow streets huddle in the shadow of a great crag. Banners display the stony features of her renewed majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip, while sooty East End workers file to the hour refining factories. Peeling posters promise fresh, wholesome lives in the Reach to new arrivals, but most of the posters are years old. More newcomers arrive at Port Prosper than ever leave it. The factories continue to belch out smoke, while over the bridge hopeful crowds gather outside the Admiral Nelson. Lovers can be seen strolling arm in arm along the promenade at a respectable distance from their chaperones. There was a brief protest outside the Winwood Company factory, swiftly quelled. The scones at the Nelson were as good as ever, though the piquancy of the jam was less than might be the desired. Okay. Attend a parade is apparently the Feast of the Red Saint. That's a hell of a thing in Fulham, London. Gaudy banners fly over the painted rooftops of Port Prosper. The smog of the East End is hidden away by giant posters displaying dragons in varying degrees of vivisection. The cramped streets are clogged with people. Wealthy West Enders promenade about the amusements, while impoverished East Enders work the stools and huddle by the chestnut fires for warmth. A painted dragon pursued by knights is chased through the crowds to a chorus of "Ho, the riding!" You call it a ho. So yeah, it's like, do I want to be with the commoners or the rich people or neither? And the answer is, of course, the commoners. I'm a revolutionary. Oi, a wide-eyed Eastender elbows his comrade somewhere under his jacket. Who's all this then? The crowd gathers from out the shadows. You are subjected to a number of looks that, if not quite filthy, are at least grubby. Eventually the huddle disperses. The first Eastender extends a thin hand, lined and warm. It's a good sign you wanted to talk to us. You spend the afternoon watching vaudeville players satirise the Red Saint and his dragon in an out-of-the-way tent, followed by a hearty supper of roast chestnuts and almost palatable ale down by the station. I am tolerated by the impoverished Eastenders. Okay, I think that's it for Port Prosper. Why do I have so much stuff? Oh, I can sell fuel. What do I have? Bronze wooden souls. It's not worth dropping off the lady yet because, like, she is just... I can sell fuel and stuff and make space for said fuel, but that's a profit of what, like 80 gold, which is not very good. So I'm gonna come back here later. Alright, so... Why did I do that? I pressed the wrong button. No! Yeah, maybe 100 rates, not worth it. So, I think at this point, I'm going to call it a stream, because it's been like 2 hours, and I've been talking a lot, and my voice hurts. So, this has been super fun. I'm going to return to the title screen. So yeah, it's been super fun. I've really enjoyed doing this again. I hope you have too, if you've been watching or you watch this on YouTube. This will be going onto YouTube, probably either this evening or tomorrow. I can be bothered. And yeah, I plan to be streaming at least once a weekend. Imagine her reaction to you showing up and being all, nope, you have to stick around because I'm not ready to get paid yet. Yeah. It's a dick move, which is why it's okay to do to a video game character. But yeah, so yeah, I'll be doing at least once a weekend, hopefully twice, and maybe once in a week. Like before, I tried to stream every day, and that was even without a job. That was draining as hell. So I'm not going to try and overextend myself. But yeah, at least once a weekend, maybe twice a weekend, maybe even in the week. I will obviously tweet and stuff. So. Please follow/subscribe to the Twitch channel. That means you, Rose, and anyone else who's watching. That's twitch.tv/HairyRevolutions. I don't think you can subscribe because I'm nowhere near popular enough to get money yet. But you can follow, which increases my numbers, which is good. All that normal stuff. Yeah. Go to my YouTube, which is youtube.com/HairyRevolutions, or it's a normal YouTube link with the same username as this because branding. Having said that, my Twitter is different, but yeah. Follow on that, subscribe on that, blah 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 blah. That's got some old videos from last year. Hopefully we'll have lots of new ones as well. My Twitter is @elvortel, ELVORTEL. Branding. I don't tweet very much. I mostly retweet, but yes, I'll tweet when I'm about to do some streams again. I think that's it. Feedback, send me feedback. Back my feed. Yeah, and thanks again for watching. It's been fun, and I'm enjoying it. And yeah, suggestions for other games to play. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to do Cultist Simulator, which is very similar and is made by not the same person who did this, but like he left this place and went and did his own thing, and then the rest of this place went and made this thing, so it was like a branch. And I have tattoos of both. Wait. This is like the worst apparently positioned tattoo for showing on the stream. Also good to. I've got more tattoos since I last streamed as well. But yeah, this has been really fun. And I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully.